Hey everyone, it's Michelle and happy week of Thanksgiving 2020. It's interesting, this time of year we tend to be very grateful. A lot of people talk about gratitude in general. People are starting gratitude journals, telling other folks in their lives how grateful and appreciative they are of what they do for them all year long. This sense of gratefulness tends to occur, around the holidays, probably starting in early November. It got me thinking, why don't we be more grateful throughout the year? And why is it hard sometimes to be grateful for things? And why is it important to be grateful? So the first thing to remember is the nature of the self, or the real job of the ego, is to preserve what it already is, or the way things should be, according to the ego, right? The ego's job is self-preservation and keeping things the way they are. So when things in life don't go exactly the way the ego thinks that they should, the mind kicks in and starts to think of ways to control a situation that we have no control over. And usually in that thought process, we get caught in a trap of scenarios and what-if situations that spiral and spiral until we feel fearful and anxious that we won't be able to control a situation, or that a situation will actually not be the way that we want it to be. And that can be very devastating. It can have lots of different physical impacts on you as well. As we've talked about in previous, blogs and conversations, the nervous system kicks in and we start to feel ramped up. So mindfulness kicks in here when we can be mindful that this is what's happening, that we're reacting to something. We can actually take a step back and change our reaction to the situation. We can actually reflect on what's going on and maybe choose how we'd like to react versus having the situation choose for us. And there's something very interesting about what happens when we concentrate and focus on gratitude. There was a study that was done in 2015 that showed gratitude and appreciation appear to be really incredible factors that hold our social fabric together. They are sensations that, nurture and fortify your sense of connectedness with other people. This study also showed that it stimulates moral cognition and value judgment. And it also opens up a plethora of different ideas, and you become a little bit more resourceful. And the other thing that it does when you're feeling grateful is it can really have a profound shift in your mindset. So when you practice grateful or gratitude, or when you practice gratefulness or appreciation, the neural pathways in your brain, in your prefrontal cortex, can actually change, which is really interesting, right? So there are habitual patterns that you might already have in your mind that happen. Something happens, you have a habitual response. But when you start to practice the being grateful for a situation or appreciation for other folks, you can actually change those neural pathways. It's like building a new highway, and having the traffic pattern go on that new highway versus the old one. And you can actually train your mind to start to look for the good. The other interesting thing is that energy, as some of us have talked about in yoga recently, follows awareness. So if your awareness is going in a direction of positivity or gratefulness, your energy is going to go that way as well. So if you tend to shift and look for the positive, you tend to feel more positive too. And collectively, as a society, we have the opportunity and the free will to start an upward spiral of well-being right now. And really what kicks that off are really small reflections on gratitude and appreciation. So it's not an easy practice, but it's something that we can definitely do and can start this time of year because it is so top of mind. There's a lot of folks right now that are doing journaling, and they're either waking up in the morning or they're going to bed at night talking about being grateful, right? Writing down 3 things you're grateful for. And that's a really, really great way to start to change how your brain functions and how you start to perceive reality, right? You'll have a greater sense of connectedness and resourcefulness toward life, and cultivating that shift can really be very profound for you as you deal with life's challenges. Another really interesting way to look at gratitude is to do it from like a really pragmatic way. So if there's something going on in your life where you're stuck, right? So think of something that's troubling you or that you feel is causing you pain or frustration. You can go ahead and maybe pause, right? Notice when you're stuck. Notice when you're feeling fear, right? Fear is maybe there. Maybe it's fear of not being in control or not being liked, or fear of your identity changing, or whatever it might be that's causing you this fear. If you pause and think about one thing you're grateful for, and just bring that thing top of mind, and then sit with it for a minute or two and notice how you might start to feel about that thing that you're grateful for. And then go ahead and bring in another idea, another thing you're grateful for. What else do you appreciate going on right now in your life? And feeling that shift. And then maybe doing another one as well. Doing a third and bringing in a third thing you're grateful for. And then feeling that shift. And sitting with that for a moment. Just noticing how your body feels, noticing how you're reacting. Kind of noticing the expansion that's going on around you. And then, once you're done, simply finish the statement. What I most need to focus on is. And usually, because we've stopped all the mind chatter and we've slowed down and we've shifted our perspective, that thing that needs to happen comes to the forefront and we think of it. And it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, of course that's there. Of course that makes the most sense. And it helps you get unstuck. So that's another option to use gratitude when you're feeling stuck, is to just pause. Bring up 3 things you're grateful for, really soak those in, and then say, what I most need to focus on is, and then let it fly and see what comes up for you. And just a last thought on gratitude is, a lot of the times in our lives, we encounter challenges. And, our past has some troubled moments, right? Things we probably don't think of as good. But in those difficult times, we became the people that we are right now. And those most challenging and difficult situations have formed us to be who we are. And so these sacred wounds, in some ways, can also be sacred gifts. And it's important to give thanks to them as well. It's really easy right now to look at our culture and think of all the negative things going on. And it pains me so much when people don't take a moment to stop and reflect before they say things that might hurt another person, whether it be around the social inequalities going on in our world or a political stance. It's really important to remember that a sense of gratitude and appreciation can bring us closer together. And it's easy to look at things from a place of fear and anxiety. But if we stop and pause and try to be a little bit more grateful in small steps, collectively, there's a really good chance that we might be able to wake up as a society. And I know I'm hoping for big things here. But I do believe that if we start with ourselves and we take a moment every day to just be grateful for the things in our life that we are appreciative of, there's an opportunity for us to train our minds to look for the good. And as we start to look for the good, we'll see the good in other people, even when we don't agree with them, and even when we don't understand things. And that will just generally bring up our society as collective whole. So this year, during a very intense 2020, where we have had pretty much everything thrown at us from a societal perspective, it might be a good time to start a gratitude practice. And so I guess that's my call to action today, is to tell me in the comments below or to send me an email at michelle@serenityyogastudio.net what you're most grateful for this year. And I'll be happy to share what I'm most grateful for as well. The first three things I can think of are I am incredibly grateful for my family, especially my parents. I am incredibly grateful for my community of people that support me at the studio at Serenity and also with my online program as well. And I am incredibly grateful for my kind and patient and wonderful friends that I have who have supported me through this crazy year and have kept me sane, have kept me grounded, and have kept me happy. So I'd love to know what you're grateful for, and maybe just remembering that, it's not always easy to be grateful, but when we can pause and reflect on the good, we might be able to really have a positive shift in our life. I wish you all a really wonderful, happy Thanksgiving and a safe one as well, and I hope to see you all soon. Thanks so much. Take care.